A world-famous painter is found dead inside his locked studio. On the easel, his final masterpiece, the portrait of a man no one can identify. But here's the chilling part. The artist had been blind for 20 years. So how did he paint this face? And why does it feel alive? For decades, the world whispered his name with reverence. Elias Whitmore, a recluse, a genius, the world's most mysterious portrait artist. His paintings sold for millions, not because of how they looked, but because of what they revealed. Every subject he painted swore the same thing. Elias saw truths no one else could. Except, Elias had been blind for over 20 years. On a rainy November night, Elias Whitmore was found dead in his locked studio. No sign of forced entry, no fingerprints, no blood, just silence. But what chilled the detectives wasn't his body. It was what sat upon the easel, his final masterpiece, a portrait of a man no one could identify. Sharp features, cold eyes, a smirk that seemed almost alive. Who was he? And how could Elias, blind as he was, have painted him with such terrifying precision? Detective Claire Donovan, a seasoned investigator with a past she tried to bury, was assigned the case. She had studied Whitmore's work in college. She knew the rumors that Elias's paintings could expose secrets, even sins, that his subjects tried to hide. But now, Elias himself had become the mystery. Claire began digging. She visited galleries, collectors, and former models. Each painting told more than a story, it exposed lies. One portrait of a politician revealed bruises no one else could see, leading to an abuse scandal. Another showed a businessman clutching a knife weeks before he was charged with murder. But no one recognized the man in the final portrait. Not the art dealers, not the collectors, not even the police database. It was as if he didn't exist. Then Claire uncovered something else. Elias had refused commissions for years, except one. 2 weeks before his death, an anonymous client had paid him in cash. No name, no contact, just a simple request: capture me as I am. That client was never seen again. As Claire searched the studio, she noticed something odd. Beneath the final portrait's layers of paint, faint outlines of another face seemed to emerge when light hit it at the right angle. Using infrared scans, forensic experts revealed the truth. Elias had painted two people, the unknown man, and beneath him, hidden, another face. Claire froze when she saw it. It was her father's face. Her father, who had disappeared 20 years ago after being accused of murder. A case that had never been solved. A wound Claire never admitted she carried. But why would Elias paint him? Claire dug deeper into Elias's past. Medical reports revealed something astonishing. Elias wasn't completely blind. He suffered from Charles Bonnet syndrome, a condition that caused vivid, sometimes terrifying visual hallucinations. But Elias claimed those visions weren't random. They were glimpses of the truth within the people he touched, as though he could see their souls. Was the final portrait one of his hallucinations? Or was it a revelation of something darker? Following Elias's notes, Claire tracked down a lead, an underground network of wealthy clients who had secretly paid him, not for art, but for confessions. The man in the final portrait was not a ghost. He was very real. A man named Victor Hale, a billionaire with ties to organized crime. A man who had paid Elias to immortalize him, but who vanished before the painting was complete. When Claire confronted Hale, he laughed. Elias saw too much. He painted what I never told anyone. That's why he had to die. But then Hale whispered something that made Claire's blood run cold. And your father, he didn't vanish. He was silenced, just like Elias. Back at the studio, Claire looked again at the final masterpiece. For the first time, she noticed something no one else had. The man in the portrait wasn't just Victor Hale. The shadows around his face, the posture, the eyes, they weren't just his. It was emerging, a hybrid of Hale and her father. Elias hadn't just painted one man. He had painted the truth. Her father had been framed. Hale was the real killer from 20 years ago. And now, Elias had exposed him in his final act. But the portrait wasn't just evidence. It was a death warrant. Because Hale knew anyone who looked closely enough would see the truth. And Claire had already seen it. Victor Hale wasn't just an art dealer. He was a puppeteer of shadows. Behind his gallery's golden facade, he smuggled priceless stolen works, laundered money through fake auctions, and silenced rivals with debts they could never repay. When Claire's father discovered Victor's network of forgery and smuggling, he tried to expose him. But Victor struck first, planting forged documents, rigging bids, and bribing witnesses until the man's reputation was reduced to ash. Claire's father got arrested, looking bewildered and betrayed. Victor watches from the shadows, smiling faintly. Inside Elias's studio, the blind painter sits across from Victor, his milky eyes unblinking. A single candle flickers. Victor whispered with a mix of arrogance and desperation. "You can't paint me, Elias, because you don't see faces, do you? You see truths, and mine is filth. Smuggling, fraud, betrayal. I buried Claire's father with lies. And now she hunts me, but she doesn't even know it was me." Victor leaning closer, almost taunting. "I ruined her family, Elias, and if she comes too close, I'll ruin her too." Elias's hand trembles as he grips his brush, his face tightening with controlled rage. Elias Whitmore's final masterpiece wasn't just a portrait. It was a confession. The painting revealed what Victor could never hide, his sins etched into every brushstroke. Victor Hale was arrested weeks later after the painting was leaked to the press. The world finally understood what Elias had been doing all his life. Not painting faces, but painting truths. But Claire never hung the painting in a gallery. She kept it locked away in the evidence room,